Hello and welcome to Talkin' Baseball. It is the last Friday recap episode of the first half of the season, so let's have some fun and talk baseball. Hello and welcome to Talkin' Baseball, brought to you by DraftKings. My name is Jimmy. We got Trevor coming to you from California, Jake coming to you from Buffalo, and producer BBD sitting on his throne. It was his birthday yesterday, so anyone that wishes him a happy birthday today that did not wish him happy birthday yesterday, it's actually negative points. You're better just keeping your mouth shut, and he may think that you wished him happy birthday yesterday correctly. Don't announce yourself as a failure. Jake, how are you doing?
James, Trevor, Buggy, David Mendelson, Davis Wimbledon, some are calling him, and everybody in the chat, I see you. Happy 4th of July last weekend. Baseball so hot in the streets, took over the interstate last night. Love that. I'm in Buffalo. I'm the king. Buffalo named me king upon entry. The first place I saw, a restaurant named Jake's. Hotel, do they have me on the top floor? Trev, you know they do. It looks like I'm staying at Vladito's apartment. I wish I could show you guys the view. And it actually kind of looks like my normal office backdrop because it's just the gray walls behind me. But I'll try to do it at the end. There's a lot of cords and wires and stuff, and I'm horrified. But yeah, I'm loving Buffalo. Someone did say Jake's Jays. I don't want to start that, but
oh my God. Take it. I need him out of the race for the wild card. Jake, how many floors? Crucial question.
10 or 12, I don't know. Not a numbers guy.
Okay. But you're on the top floor.
I think so.
Well, okay, a lot of doubt coming out.
What is going on right now?
Trav, how are you?
I'm new to being the king.
James, Jacob, big dong, happy birthday, belated. I wished you a happy birthday yesterday.
Okay.
So I'm doing great. Couple notes. We are starting to do our neighborhood barbecues every Thursday. So went to that last night, and I was wearing my JOMBOY Media hat. And I walk up, say hi to one of my neighbors, and this kid is looking at me. He goes, "Oh my God, I love your podcast. I love your show." You know, just came up, and he's a Talkin' Baseball fan. So it was really cool to get that like little juice right there as soon as I walked up. And because I had that juice, it turned into a magical night because guess what happened?
1,000 more people came up.
My good friend Matthew Stafford and I took our relationship to the next level.
Wow.
We exchanged phone numbers yesterday.
Holy smokes. How'd it go down? How'd it go down, Trev?
He's like, "I don't think I have your number. What's your number?"
Wow.
Sparks were flying.
Wow.
Like,
then how did it
dubs
really go
behind us?
And it was
That
you
was
that
it.
it was you that said that to him, though?
Yeah.
No, man.
Okay.
I wouldn't be lying. I don't lie to you guys. So there's that. It was a magical night for me. Beautiful summer night where we got a little bit of fluff for our show, and then Stafford comes up and asks for my number. It was like, couldn't ask for a better night. I'm flying high right now.
Wow. That is great. I didn't give my number out to anyone. No one. Yesterday.
Nobody?
I have. I've had the same number since 2003.
You should change that.
We'll see. We're gonna have a big Monday episode. We're all gonna be together in Denver for All-Star Weekend. Excited for that. There's a chance at this wedding I might have a Matthew Stafford for Monday's episode. So that's a little teaser.
Who is it? Kane?
It's a famous hockey player that you just said their last name.
Okay.
Oh.
Shit,
Are
maybe
you going to go up to him?
I guess he's like friends of the family and stuff. Jess's mom took a very close picture of his face last night. So I'm interested to see what I'm walking into.
Okay. That wouldn't maybe one up, Trev, maybe not. Well, the whole company, sans Jake, is flying to Denver on the same flight. And I think I've talked to some other people in the area, and they're flying on that plane as well. So maybe everyone in the company that's flying together will meet someone famous ourselves, and we'll get their number. We'll just trounce you guys.
I'll give you guys my number when we get to Denver. Then you can all feel special.
I have it. Already have it.
It's true.
Already have it.
The people that think me and Trev truly hate each other, I love them because they know.
Well, you guys don't have each other's number, and it's really annoying for BBD and I to have two separate chats.
Yeah.
Hey, Jake, it's this time. Trev, it's this time. Try to merge it one time.
BBD active. BBD's he's our messenger pigeon.
I need back and forth in my life.
Try to merge the group chats once, and it's just Trev and Jake sending middle finger selfies to each other.
Why'd the chat go green?
And then they deleted numbers.
All right. This episode is brought to you by our most recent patrons, Austin Gilmore, Alex M., Spencer Workman, Sam Hogan, Corey Evie, Matthew Winston Cozine, Brennan Hansen Floss, Mr. Floss, Wake Up and Floss, if he had a morning show, Jason Michael Foote, J.M. Foote, Tracy Rondinelli, Michael Hartung, Kevin Hill, Robert Hotz, Mario, Liam O'Sullivan, and Kara Batko. So thank you very much to our new patrons. Appreciate you guys very much. Day in, day out. Love you. A lot of perks for our patrons. If you go to patreon.com/JOMBOY Media, you can find out about them. Who has the NL today? Trevor
Bat lead off, baby.
Wow. Are you ready to bring us the news and tell us what happened?
Believe it. It's me.
All right. Here we go. This is what happened in the National League this week.
We are starting off in Pittsburgh, where the Braves came into town and they lost 2 out of 3 to the Pirates. Pirates win 2 games. First game 11-1. Second game 2-1 before the Braves put the smackdown and won 14-3. Obviously, both teams had a great offensive day. Pitching staff struggled except for the Pirates starters who pitched to a 2.3 ERA. Their bullpen not so hot. John Nogowski had 7 hits in his first 3 games with the Pirates after coming over from the Cardinals. Ben Gamble with 2 homers. Ke'Bryan Hayes had 6 hits with 4 extra base hits, and Frazier had 6 hits. On the Braves side, Acuna had 5 hits with a home run. Brian Reynolds with the walk-off walk in Game 2. There was no one on and 2 outs in the 9th, and it was tied 1-1, but the Braves gave up a walk, a single, a walk, and a walk to blow the game. Ozzie Albies exits Game 3 as a precaution due to neck tightness, but the Pirates take 2 out of 3, and Braves Twitter is not happy about it. Moving on to Miami, the Dodgers go into town, and they lose 3 out of 4. The Fish with arms take 3 games. 5-4 Marlins, 2-1 Marlins, 9-6 Marlins before the Dodgers avoided the sweep with a 6-1 victory. Neither team hit particularly well. Garrett Cooper had 6 hits and 4 walks, though, with 2 home runs. Aguilar with the 3-1 walk-off homer in Game 3. It was a bomb. Marte advances to third on the wild pitch and then scores on an errant throw down to third to walk off Game 2. Dodgers not so happy about that one. Jorge Alfaro had the go-ahead home run in the 8th inning of Game 1. This is a great series for the Fish. A lot of come-from-behind wins. Chris Taylor had 7 hits for the Dodgers. Turner had 6 hits with a homer. Bad news, Kershaw placed on the 10-day IL with forearm inflammation. He'll undergo an MRI today. Fish take 3 of 4 from the Dodgers. Brewers go into New York, and the Mets take 2 out of 3, 4-2 Mets. 4-3 Mets before the Brewers took the second game of the doubleheader 5-0. Both offenses struggle, which means the pitchers did great. DeGrom had 10 Ks with 2 earned runs and 7 innings pitched in Game 2. Alonso and Nimmo had 3 hits with 2 extra base hits each. Alonso had the go-ahead 2-run double in the 7th inning of Game 1. McNeil with the walk-off single in the 8th inning of the Game 2. Luis Urias 5 hits in the series, hits a home run in both games of the doubleheader Wednesday. I love that shit. Obviously, we talked about this. Brewers acquire Rowdy Tellez. He got a base hit, I think, in his first at bat. Lorenzo Cain starts his rehab assignment, and J.D. Davis is not expected to be back until after the All-Star break. But the Mets take 2 of 3. A couple good games there. Moving on to Chicago, the Phillies roll into town, and they take 3 out of 4. 13-3 Phillies, 15-10 Phillies. Before it was 8-3 Cubs, and then last night 8-0 Phils. Phillies hit 13 freaking homers in this series with 23 extra base hits. Harper had 8 hits, 4 of those for extra bases and a home run. Hoskins, McCutchen, and Gregorius 2 homers apiece. Backyard Brad with a 3-homer game. We'll talk about that later. McCutchen still going off. He had a grand slam. Harper with 5 hits and a homer in game 2. Javi Baez had 3 homers. Gosh, there was a lot of offense in this freaking series. The Cubs have lost 12 of their last 13 and have been outscored 94-43 in those games. They are selling. Jed Hoyer said it already. See you later, guys. Phillies take 3 of 4. Moving on, Rockies at D-backs. D-backs, Jake's Snakes take 2 out of 3 from Jake's Rocks. 4-3 D-backs, 6-4 D-backs. Before the Rockies staved off the sweep 9-3 in the last game. Escobar, our guy, Eddie Escobar, 4 hits with 2 extra base hits and a homer. Blackman had 6 hits. Peralta with the walk-off hit by pitch in game 1. The D-backs win back-to-back games for the first time since May 10th. In their first series, they win their first series since April 29th. What is going on out there? Crone hit in the head Thursday, but clears the concussion protocol. That's good news. D-backs take 2 out of 3. Moving on to San Francisco and the Cardinals. Cardinals roll into town, take 2 out of 3 from the San Francisco Foggy Boys. 5-3 Cardinals, 6-5 Cardinals before Wood shoved and took the last game 5-2. No more music, so I'm going to move on to the most exciting series. Nationals at Padres. They split the series. 7-5 Nationals, 7-4 Padres, 15-5 Nationals, 9-8 Padres. I guess offense is back in the league. Turner had 7 hits with 3 homers. Bell 7 hits with 3 extra base hits and a homer. Soto 2 homers. Everyone's going off. The game of the year, maybe last night. Padres come back down 8-0 to win the game 4. And that was Camarena with the grand slam off Scherzer and Grisham with the walk-off single. We're going to be talking a lot about this game, and that is what happened in the NL Padres-National split.
Wow.
That was a lot. A lot of offense.
A lot going on. Great job by you, Trevor Plouffe. Jake, do you have a starting point that's popping out at you?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably not where you guys want to start, but that Rockies D-back series, I mean, Rockies get a win on the road to end it. A good action both ways. Eddie Escobar with the big home run last night, and that's all we'll say about that. I think the one that caught all of our ears at first was Dodgers Fish, man. Like giving the Dodgers a lot of love. They righted the shit. People are healthy, and then how about Fish with arms? And they blew that one game. They had a little snowball fight on the field. So that was the one that caught everyone's ears.
Yeah, I mean,
ears?
This isn't as bad as it seems for the Dodgers, though. I mean, the 2 games they lose are walk-off losses, meaning they were in it, and the one they kind of shot themselves in the foot. They still have the best record in baseball, or second best record in baseball in their last 10 games, and, they've lost 3 in their last 10 games, and 2 of them were walk-off fashion. So it's not really I don't think it's telling. It's bad that they get more losses in the Dodgers column, but I don't think it really doesn't flutter the needle for me. Kershaw being hurt does a little bit. See how they can dance around that one. And the Bauer stuff does. So.
Yeah, the Dodgers can go all season long, and I don't think we need to worry about them whatsoever. Their season starts in the postseason. That's bottom line. They're at that level where they're like the Patriots. They don't care about the regular season. Let's go. Season starts in October for them. So this is a bump in the road. Obviously, you don't want to lose 3 out of 4, but
that being said, I don't want to take anything away from the Marlins. It's like
yes,
like it is telling for them. That's like just to hang tough with the Dodgers and to win those close games. The flip side of the coin. I'm not trying to take it away anything. I'm just saying. I think the Dodgers will be a fine here. The Marlins, though, that's like a boost. That can jumpstart something because they're still very much in play, kind of. Not really, but kind of.
Yeah, unfortunately they're out of play, but it's going to be probably the running storyline of the season that their run differential has been the best in the NL East for a while. We'll see. It'll be a fun day when that passes. But yeah, it's been fun seeing that pick up on Twitter. Like I'd say twice a week a different beat reporter puts it out and they're like, have you looked at the NL East and the run differential? And it's like, yeah, I host the #1 baseball podcast with 3 of the most handsome men in the world. So I reply that to every tweet.
I've been seeing you leave that left and right.
Yeah.
The Marlins, speaking of they offered Starlin Marte an extension. Did you see that?
I did not.
They're trying to.
Marlins did?
Yeah, they're trying to offer him a 3-year extension. So he's one of the biggest trade pieces, I think, out there right now, if you want a true rental. And he might be coming off the board with the Marlins trying to extend him.
You think that's a little you think that's a little mental warfare? You think that's the Marlins putting that in the ether to drive the price up a little bit?
Yes, but they may also want to extend him.
Kim knows what she's doing.
They do kind of have a window here with some pitching, even though they did get the Sixto news, which is bad. But yeah, I mean, Marlins have reportedly offered $30 million extension for Starlin Marte. Deal is significantly apart from what the Marte camp is expecting. They want a 3 to 4 year deal with $50 million. So yeah, I mean, there is a lot of that, Jake, but it's something to take note of.
Either way, we're here for it.
Yeah. Yes. That's what I want. What really stood out to me was the Mets-Brewers series, 2 #1 teams. I know we had more exciting games in other places, but the Mets-Brewers is 2 #1 teams going at it, and the Mets win 2 of 3. The Brewers, they have to do the double header, and we had some insight a little bit, Jake, to the thinking of, do you start Burns against DeGrom in game 1, or do you start Anderson against DeGrom, and then in game 2 start Burns against who did the Mets throw in game 2?
Robert Stock, my arch nemesis, one of my arch nemesis.
Yes, very friendly to us, but did quote tweet you once.
Yes,
Bobby Stocks. And they went with the matchup the fans wanted. They went with Burns versus DeGrom, and it was really good. And they both shoved. And then Hader gives up the tying home run, a pinch hit homer off of
first pitch
off of Hader. I was very curious when I saw that. I was like, how many pinch hit homers has Hader given up in his career? And I Googled it. The answer is 4. That's his second pitch hit homer to tie the game. To blow the save in the last inning. But Sam Hillard for the Rocks also got him.
I had a joke I was going to throw in there in my recap, and I thought about it last night, and I was like, oh, this is probably going to hit as I'm doing this. Now, if I tell you guys the joke, I don't think it's going to be that funny.
Okay, well, you've really set it up well.
Yeah, I don't care if you guys laugh at it or not. I was going to say,
all right.
Like my neighbor Madonna, Hader gets touched for the first time this season. It was his first home run he gave up this year.
I love it.
So I think during it would have been good, but now it's not that
Channeling your inner Jake with that one. That's a great line.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Trev, if you want to maybe one late night in Denver, we have a couple of the local medicine and dream up a few of those, I'm in.
Oh, yeah. But that was a bomb. Good for him. Everyone was going nuts. The Mets proved something in this series for sure. Brewers are a hell of a team. Obviously, Mets are a hell of a team. They've been doing it all freaking year. And I don't think we do give them enough credit. We're always looking, who's going to chase down the Mets? Who's going to chase down the Mets? I say it all the freaking time. And I don't know if it's biased because I said the Braves were going to win the World Series, and I'm hoping that happens. But the Mets deserve a hell of a lot of credit for what they did in the offseason and what they're doing this year. So big series for them.
How close are their games? Have they made up majority of their games now? I was always saying I'm interested to see when they finally get even. They're 10 games behind some teams. I can find
they played 83 games. And other teams have played 89. So they still have something to go.
Okay.
The Brewers have played 89. Giants have played 86.
Okay.
So they got some to go.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else? I mean, obviously the Padres stuff. Anything else you guys want to talk about?
Great series. The Padres so resilient. That stadium looks badass. I think Eno was there yesterday. I think he's been in San Diego. Our guy Eno.
Hell yeah.
Seems like such an amazing atmosphere. I got to get down to a game there. The Crone Zone was doing it yesterday. Great freaking defensive play, and then Grisham, who I think Grisham's like a really fucking good player that maybe we don't talk about enough. Maybe?
Yeah, I think Jake talked about it a while ago when he was on a hot streak.
Yeah. He's got some numbers that go with some of the best players in the game, but you get caught up in the Tatisas and Machado. But yeah, obviously Camarena. We're teaser. We might talk about that in a little bit. And man, I mean, if you're a Nats fan, you got Scherzer on the bump with a big lead, and you think you're about to take 3 out of 4 from the Padres. I'm interested to see what the Padres do this weekend, because I've been talking about the spark going into the All-Star break. And a little Slam Diego resurgence, the Padres have been trailing the Dodgers and San Fran all year. I'm interested to see if there is a residual effect.
You got real choppy on me at the end. Whoa. Something happened. What'd you say?
I said interested to see if there's a residual effect from the slammer.
Oh, okay. All right. I want to talk about the Cubs.
Do it.
They're selling. After all this.
For sale sign.
After all this, when Jake and Trev and I were saying that it'd be very interesting if they are sellers at the deadline, and then they got real hot, and they're like, they're not selling, they're in it, and then they're buyers, and then now they go on an 11-game skid, and Hoyer comes out and says, basically, we're selling. He said he's having a meeting with the core players before the deadline. And he said 11 days ago, all the calls were about us buying players. His quote is, life comes at you fast. 11 days ago, this is not where we were mentally. Obviously, 11 games certainly changes a lot of things. When your playoff odds get into the single digits at this time of year, you have to keep an eye on the future and what moves you can potentially make that can help build the next great Cubs team. He expects to talk with the core players ahead of the trade deadline and their moves. So we are in that fun area, Trev, that you and I dreamed about during the PPPs or TPPs. What if the Cubs are sellers? And you have the GM saying those quotes. The Cubs are selling.
They're selling.
I don't know to what extent. They have a lot of guys. They have Rizzo, which I kind of hope he stays and they extend him because he seems like the guy there. Man, they got Bryant. They got Baez. They got Contreras. Happ's around for 2 more seasons after this one, but maybe they get a haul now. What's Hoyer's window on the turnaround? So that's the most fun. Not for Cubs fans, and I'd never mean it anti-Cubs. I just mean it for deadline fun. A lot of more players that are good just got added to the mix. Who do you think goes first? Or you think these guys go?
I think Kimbrel is going to be who everyone's looking at, because he's coveted. Relievers like that are coveted by every single freaking team that's in contention. If you don't have to. If you have a shortstop or a good infield, you're not going to go after Javi Baez. And same thing with Chris Bryant. I guess those guys are going to help any team too, but a reliever's market is so much bigger now. So I think he's gone for sure. Big Country, Chafin, he might be out of there too. And then, all those guys are free agents. So, you keep one. I think Rizzo might stay, sure, but you're not keeping Bryant. You're not keeping Baez. They're not going to be there, man. And you're right. They're going to help a team. It's going to change the landscape of baseball this year. Those guys are marquee players, especially a Chris Bryant. He's going to go help somebody, and he's going to be in the playoffs, and that's awesome.
That's what I'm saying. The Cubs.
Kimbrel, man. People are saying Kimbrel could be the biggest return for whatever trades go down. Because I think his contract goes into next year. There's a team option for next year, and he's looked so good and being a reliever. So, yeah, man. And, hey, that would be exciting. I just thought the Cubbies were going to give it a run this year, and they did until they ate shit behind Rossi. Such a bad stretch.
Since he's pulled Javi that game, and we talked about they want to get ready for this road trip. I think they're 2-13 or something like that, including an 11 gamer. So, be careful what you do to the players. Trying to make a point. I don't think that helped too much.
Top managers.
I wasn't.
Do you think managers can affect the culture that way?
I don't think that's what happened.
Okay.
They played some good teams too, but it didn't help. I don't know what's going on in the clubhouse. I haven't spoken to anybody about how that affected the clubhouse. I'm just saying that streak coincided with them taking Javi Baez out of the game.
Yep. There's some really fun spots for him to go. I can see the A's making that move. That seems like kind of the half-assed move the A's make. Just bring a closer in on a rental piece to help out the bullpen. You can see the Red Sox, man. The Red Sox could say, we want him. The Astros. Kimbrel's going to go to a team that already has a good enough bullpen, and just because they can. That's the type of trade I think that that'll be made surrounding him.
Like the Dodgers.
Dodgers too, yeah. But that's a fun one. He's got a He's got a vesting option next year. I don't know what the stimulations or whatever surrounding that are, but
I only saw the beat reporters that were saying, you can have Kimbrel for next year too. So that's why he might be a bigger haul.
I think it might have already vested.
Presley,
Do you know it, BBD?
It says I think he's had a couple vest with 110 games finished across 2020 and 2021, but I think obviously last year's stuff with pro rating. And
games finished?
Games finished. So he needed 55 for this year to get there. It looks like.
So can someone trade for him and then use him in the eighth? Use him in the 8th inning and not the 9th inning, and then he doesn't vest?
Sure.
Fuck.
And I think he also already met another vesting option that increases the amount of his buyout. So that's nice for him.
Contracts are crazy. All right, I'm interested in looking into that in the offseason or if the trade happens because, say one of those teams trades for him and say, yeah, but you're going to be our 8th inning guy. Well, then his vesting option won't hit because it's all about games finished. But then it
looks like it's a club / vesting option. So I think the club is going to have the choice either way.
Okay.
Yeah. Vesting options are notoriously team friendly.
All right.
Because they can manipulate them if they need to. And if you do hit if you do vest and you hit all your numbers, that's good for them too.
Yeah. Well, all right. That's the fun Cubs news of the day, and not fun for Cubs fans, but for fans of trades. And the Phillies took 3 out of 4, so they helped push them this way. So good job by the Phils.
There was a clip of I forget which Cubs pitcher it was, but know how when you give up a home run and there's a good reaction by the catcher, like they just know it's a missed pitch and it's jacked. There was a really good one. I think it was last night that was just like in the catcher's reaction, you could feel the emotion of all those losses and it's just not working. And how are we doing this? And it's like, damn, that's a bad place to be.
It was Backyard Brad's homer, right?
I think so, yes.
It was his last one, yeah.
How about the Cardinals? Taking 2 of 3 from the first place Giants, the best record in all of baseball. The Cardinals been on a crazy slide. They scored some runs late against the bullpen in game 1. Gossman was good. They got to the bullpen. Does this move the needle for the Cards at all? Is this anything?
They got to keep going, man. They got to keep going. They dug themselves a pretty big hole.
Okay.
They're
see what they do at the trade deadline.
They're in the Yankee shoes right now. They're trying to move the needle to move the needle.
Yeah. Trying to put batteries into the needle mover first. Then they'll start shaking it, see if it moves.
Oh, I've been there.
All right. Anything else you guys want to talk about in the NL before moving on?
Go Pirates.
Braves, what are you doing?
All right, Braves. Yeah, what are you doing, Braves?
All right. Hey, let's go to the AL recap. Jakey's going to bring you this one, and it is brought to you by Sports Pets USA. Jake has a dog. I have 2 dogs. They sent our dogs some baseball jerseys. Look cute as hell in those. Pretty funny. You know, I'm not going to dress up my dog, and dressing up a dog is funny. I don't think my dogs are going to be going out in raincoats in the rain or whatever. Actually, when we took Mac in the snow, we had to get a snow jacket because he was clumping up on his underbelly a lot. But Sports Pets USA, they have over 5,000 fully licensed products for MLB, NBA, NFL, NHL, and NCAA. Pet jerseys, collars, leashes, tags, toys, and more. So go get your favorite item at their store now and use code BASEBALL. You can get 20% off the entire site. Go get your pet a jersey for their favorite sports team at sportspetusa.com and use discount code BASEBALL at checkout for 20% off. We'll have the link below. Jake, did you put your jersey on Noodle? You look delicious.
I have. We have some content coming soon. You know how the content schedule goes. You can't just like keep posting. So
okay, all right. So go dress up your dog. Get him a birthday. Get it a birthday present. The AL recap. Here we go. Jake, tell us what happened.
Jimmy, let's start with BBD's Yankees in Seattle, the Mariners. How about that? And the Yankees came out big in Game 1. They knock around former farmhand Justice Sheffield to the tune of 12-1. They survived the second game 5-4, and then Logan Gilbert drops it on him in the third game, so the Yankees do go sweepless in Seattle. Blue Jays and the Orioles. Jake's Jays, people are talking. They split the series. Game 3 was postponed. How about it? 7-5 Orioles, 10-2 Jays in the Ryu start. How about it? Vladdy, Bichette, Gurriel, 4 hits and a homer each. How cute is that? Vladito, 28 homers. I think 1 more for the over. Good bet, Jake. The Rays. Hey, they kind of needed this a little bit. They sweep the Indians. They had a bad time for a little bit. 9-8, 8-1, 4-0 in a doubleheader day. Waka and McHugh, friend of the pod. Eddie Rosario to the IL. Margot to the IL. I don't like that. Yandy Diaz, the walk-off fielder's choice in Game 1. You got to love that. Tigers at Trev's Rangers. Tigers are winning series, fellas. They take this one 2 games out of 3. 7-3, 10-5 Rangers in the Dunning start, and then 5-3 Tigers. Casey Mize, these young pitchers, man, and compound Zach Short, second career homer. People are talking. Gibby gets screwed by the bullpen. Treble waxed poetically about that. The Houston Astros beat up on the Athletics. They take the first 2 games, 9-6, 4-3. Athletics save it in the last one. Frankie Montes with the big start to survive it. Kyle Tucker, big go-ahead homer in Game 2 to take over that one. Elvis Andrus, I want to look up his stats. Is he starting to hit? I've seen a lot of Elvis Andrus highlights recently. Astros and Yanks, fun series this weekend. Twins. Trev's Twins hosted BBD's White Sox. White Sox take 2 out of 3, and that's obvious. Lance Lynn and Rodon each go 6 innings pitched, 1 earned run. That's fun. Max Kepler, 2 yackers. Is the big German, could he be traded? People are talking. Yasmani Grandal gets hurt. I hate it. And finally, in the American League, the Angels take 2 out of 3 from the Boston Red Sox. Who saw this coming, guys? Red Sox win the first game 5-4. Martin Perez was on the bump for that. Ohtani Day, the second game, that home run robbery. I hope you guys all saw that. Lagares still doing it like 20 years later. And then Angels take the rubber match 5-4. Rendon goes to the IL, third IL stint this season. I hate it. David Fletcher is doing things, boys. 20
Jake, good job. And that's obvious. You did a
Thanks,
great job.
Trev.
You're welcome. James? Jimmy, you're a robot.
Robot Jim.
I love that somebody else is a robot.
I'll leave and come back.
All right.
I've got you. You're a little robot-y.
I'm here. Yeah, you're still robot-y to me. You guys are always making
The
fun of
other
me.
side of the robot.
That's a confusing one. First time issue.
You're back now.
Hey,
Back now?
there
Yep.
we go.
BBD to
Go.
the rescue. All right, great job on the whatever, Jake. Good job.
Thank you.
Congrats to the Angels, firmly beating a team that is firmly better than them.
They're
They're-
saying
they're-
there's the chat is saying they still can't hear you. Wait, now we're
They're
saying we're
just
back.
delayed.
Wait.
They're just delayed. Yeah, the Angels are the hottest team in baseball right now. They're 8-2 in their last 10, and for a while they were only beating teams better than them, losing the teams better than them, beating teams worse than them. This is the first time that they beat a team that is, by the numbers better than them. So congrats to them. Ohtani, Robin are doing everything. So credit to them.
Credit to them. And man, Rendon to the IL again. He's just never gotten off the ground this year. That sucks for them. I mean, if there's a couple team to circles, the Angels and the Mariners, as the trade deadline approaches, like this Angels franchise in theory is all in. Are they going to try to be aggressive and make moves at the deadline? The Mariners are still a game up on them. They've got a lot of youth, so you're probably just letting that play out. But those are a couple teams. Like, what do? You can't. If you're the Mariners GM, you don't want to shoot that team in the foot when they've been somewhat successful this year and trade off a couple relievers or whatever. I don't know.
How
That's
do you
a tough
have them
call.
getting to
Tough
the
call,
playoffs? Neither of those
That's the
teams
thing.
are close to getting a playoff spot. The Mariners a little bit, but I agree with you. The Angels aren't.
I mean,
if the Mariners are close to the playoff spot, the Angels are close to the playoff spot. They're one game behind the Mariners, so
I don't think either are. They'd have to really, really they'd have to do it without help. I mean, if they make trades, it'll be little trades. Try to get a guy who's got a couple years on his contract and not incredibly expensive right now. You can't. And that goes for the Yankees, too. The three of them are in the same boat.
fuck.
So, yeah, I don't know.
It's
they're winning.
interesting
That's
because
fun.
the Mariners have a ton of prospect capital, one of the better farm systems in the big leagues. Got a young team, kind of doing well. Like, I know you're going to talk about Logan Gilbert, Jim, in a little bit, but like he looked nasty. So like, what's to say they don't go out and get a starter and run it? I don't know, man. It's
do it
almost
in free agency.
Well, why not this year?
Depends what
As
you
a
have
player
to.
on that team, you'd want that. You'd want your ownership and your front office to be like to recognize what you've done up until this point. We've basically given them no credit all season long, but look, they're sitting like 6 or 7 games above 500. Where are they at? I had it up here. 4 games over 500. It's interesting. I kind of agree with you, Jim, where it's like it's probably not the time yet. And knowing the front office like we do because of what they did in the offseason and all the stuff that they said, I doubt they go and make a big splash, but they could.
What about the Cubs then? I mean, Jed Hoyer just said when your playoff probability is a 1-digit number at this point in the season, you're not buyers. Angels and the Mariners are both at 5% and 4% respectively. So like they're not buyers.
They're different because the Cubs have to be sellers. The Mariners aren't selling anybody. You know, maybe if they want to, they can sell with Graveman.
It's true. I
But
just think they're in a great position to call up young people and let them get a lot of experience and run.
And that's what I was saying, Jim. I mean, the Mariners are in a really tricky spot because, you know, Mitch Haniger, who we talked about a lot, like he's been a big part of that team. You want to encourage the youth. They've done good. They've kind of exceeded expectations. So if you give them a shot, you know, if they trade Haniger and Graveman, now you just kind of the team did good. They did better than they were supposed to, and you're going to shoot them in the foot. So, I mean, I'm with you. I don't think you can make a big trade to bring someone in, but you also kind of can't sell it. It's a tricky spot. And the Angels, the only thing that's different there is, I mean, that team is in. Like, they spent money this offseason. Yeah. We could disagree with how they spent it, but, you know, that team's in and it's Ohtani fever. Like, they're going to be in the mix.
This is like sorry to all the people who always hate when I use Yankee team references, but that's what I know the best. The 2016 Yankees. They traded pieces they knew they could get a return for, but brought in pieces that were still competitive, and then they brought up Gary Sanchez and Aaron Judge and let them get a lot of experience, and Gary went crazy, so that pushed him to some fun games. But, you know, they traded Chapman, and they traded Miller, but they brought in Clippard, who was an MLB above-average reliever at the time for the end of that 2016 team. So there's a way that you can flip some pieces you have for some pieces that still make you competitive while promoting some young guys and giving them some long run for next year. But, I mean, they're not sellers, I know that, but because they want to win next year. But they're certainly not going to be big buyers. Yeah. Otherwise, the Cubs should stick with it because they got the same odds.
Yeah, just different energies. I mean, Cubs traded away their best pitcher before the season, and we knew this was coming with them, where the Cubs slope has been going down, the Mariners slope is going up.
Yeah, I agree with that. They do have some pieces that, like, you know, could make a return, could get you something. They both got relievers on one-year deals. Graveman, Iglesias, they've been doing well. So, like, if you
can get
something
Seager
for those guys, do it. What's that?
Wasn't that mentioned? Like, they're talking about selling Seager, and his wife was like, I guess we should sell our house in Seattle now.
Yeah.
He's got an option for next year, and he came out and said on that Rotary Club meeting that they're not going to pick it up. It's so, you know, if they wanted to trade Seager to a team that wants him, there's ways they can sell a piece or two without blowing up and then stay competitive for next year.
Oh yeah, they're not blowing up that team. Like Jake said, they're on the rise there. Yeah, but
they
do have
I'm not saying that. Yeah.
The more we look at it, they do have players to sell. Haniger, Graveman, Seager, like all those guys can go, and they keep everybody intact. Like I mean, look, if you want to hop on a bandwagon, Seattle's not a bad bandwagon to hop on this year, and then you're like hitting it right at the beginning, baby.
Yeah. I'm saying, I guess what it sums up is both those teams, the Yankees as well at this point, should be thinking of how to get better for next season more than how do we try to scratch and claw to get in a away wild card game.
This is interesting. Someone in the chat, Lions in the chat, says Seager's option becomes a player option if he is traded. So that means he's probably staying put.
Oh, that's a very good note. Thank you, chat. We appreciate you. You guys know more than us a lot of the time. That is a lot. That's interesting. So he's not getting traded.
Probably not.
Probably wouldn't have anyway, because that's like kind of like
he's a dude there.
Yeah, he's like.
Oh my gosh, he's a guy there.
People will pay to see him if they know it's his last couple games in Seattle, and they could still sign him without picking up his option. He just probably wouldn't like that.
We talked about. Is anyone talking about Gibby later?
I'm not.
I talked to Gib, and I don't know if he watched what happened, but he came out with a runner on or maybe two runners on, and then it was just bad luck for him. like ground ball back to the pitcher that gets zooed. There was like a fly ball like in short right field that just landed in front of Gallo. There was some walks. So like in the end, his line is bad. It's 5 earned runs and 6 1/3. But I think he gave up 1 himself or 2 himself, and the bullpen just kind of
2. Yeah.
Yeah, not really like their fault either. It was just like bloops and little dink hits and all that stuff. So tough for him because he goes, his ERA balloons a little bit right before the All-Star game. He was saying he was hoping to have Cash, to have to decide between him and Lance Lynn to start. And now he thinks that Lynn will obviously get it. He was also mad at me because he said that I mentioned on this show that maybe he's not a sub-2 pitcher.
Wow.
He took a little bit of offense to that.
What?
I said, bro, I got to keep it real. Like, who is a sub-2 pitcher? That's like a mythical, dude.
It is. It's a good point, but
yeah, like low 2s is really good, Gib. Like, how many people go sub-2 a year? 1, 2?
I think 1 if the league's lucky.
Yeah.
If your name's Jake, maybe.
This is true. If you have a dog name like Jake or Max, you have a chance.
Let's
How to
see.
breed a pitcher.
Well, 2020 doesn't count. No one did it in 2019. In 2018, DeGrom and Snell did it. No one did it in 17. No one did it in 16. Greinke did it in 15. Kershaw did it in 14 and 13.
Okay.
Dude, in the AL, Snell's 18 is the only one to do it in 21 years. The last one was Pedro in 2000. So since 2000, only 2 pitchers have had an ERA sub-2 in the AL, and Gibby's in the AL.
So chill out, Gibby.
Yeah, so you're good. You're good.
I believe Gibby.
That's good, man. All right.
What else we got? Astros take 2 or 3 from the A's because I feel like that's obvious. Like they've been whooping up on them. I think the A's are 3-10 this year against them. But as we pointed out on the Chris Rose IG Live, that division is far from over. 6 of the last 9 games between these two teams to end the season. So hopefully they're close, separated by like 3 games, and then we get to see 2 awesome series. It'd be a lot of fun.
Did they whip up on them good? I wish. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So the Astros have one. They're 9-4 against them right now.
9-4. Okay, I thought it was the other. So that was 3-10. Okay, so 9-4.
But I think the run differential's ugly because Houston, when they beat them pretty big.
We got to point this out because we talked a lot about spin and whose rates are way down, and Houston gets a lot of shit for being like a spin factory. They improved a lot of guys' spin. Ryan Presley goes over there. He was already a good spin guy before he went there, but he's kept it up. His spin rate has been about the same since they did the the enforcing of the rules. So we kind of have to shout that guy out a little bit because he's just, as Jake would say, built different. He doesn't give a shit who's in the box. That's what when I watch Ryan Presley pitch, I know he doesn't think about who's in the box. He doesn't care about your weaknesses. He's going to throw that slide ball up there and say, good luck. Love that for him.
It's a good approach. The Rays, they were on a really bad skid. Their last 30 were like 500, under 500. They sweep the Indians, so good for them to get back on the right track and pick up some W's with the doubleheader. Doubleheader sweep, man.
It's a good day.
Where was the no-hitter, right? They had a 4-person no-hitter.
Yeah. I think
Which
my
doesn't
guy
count.
Fairbanks was involved. I was like,
Well, your
4
best friend
pitchers.
was also involved. He started it. McHugh.
Fairbanks is my best friend.
It was
best
McHugh, Fleming, Diego for 1 out, Whistler. Is it Whistler? And Fairbanks. It's the 3rd time the Indians have been no-hit this season.
Well, it's technically not a no-hitter, but yes, Jim, they'd be on the top. There's 3 teams that have been actually no-hit twice, and this would have put the Indians at the top there for 3, but they don't count it.
Well, but the way I'm thinking of it, it's the 3rd time the Indians have not gotten a hit in a game.
Yeah, and they got 4 hits through both doubleheaders, only 1 run. I had made fun of Chris Rose with these statistics. So.
Man, that's tough.
Yeah, tough one. Ooh. Remember, they were like good, and they were like doing it, and like now they're just not that good.
Their pitching got tough, and then bad times.
Yeah.
All right, I have the interleague play, and I will tell you what happened right now. We only got 1 series. The Reds went to Kansas City to take on the Royals, and the Reds won the first game with rookie Vladimir Gutierrez. Gutierrez? Shit. Huh?
Gutierrez.
He outpitched veteran Mike Minor in game 1, so the Reds took that one. The Royals took game 2, even though Castillo went 7 innings pitched, 1 earned run, continuing his hot stretch because the Reds blew it in the bottom of the 9th. Gino Suarez lets the ball go right through the legs, then they get a throwing error, then Salvi walks it off for the Royals. Sonny Gray pitched really well in game 3 to help them get the win against Brady Singer. Gray then placed on the 10-day IL with rib cage strain. That sucks. Benintendi hits his first home run since returning from the IL. Tyler Stevenson had 5 hits with a double. Jonathan India 4 hits with 2 doubles and 3 RBIs. The Reds committed 3 errors in that one game. That led to them losing. Otherwise, they maybe could have swept it. Bummer. That's all. That's what happened. Reds and Royals. Well, Midwest battle.
Huge series. The Reds, man. How about we gotten caught up in the Cardinals and, they got to stay alive to stay alive? The Reds, they're second in the NL Central. Brewers have run away, but, good for the Reds.
Where are they in the wild card in the National League? I mean, no one's there. They are the top wild card. They're 5.5 games out, but that's not going to them.
I don't really have a team to root for, so I'm curious. Maybe you guys can share some insight on this. When you have a team like the Reds, what are they, 3 games over 500, playing better ball as of late, but they're looking up at a 7-game deficit right now. What do you feel as a fan? Are you very optimistic about the rest of the season? Or are you fuck, don't draw me in like this just to let me down later in the season? Where do you go if you're a Reds fan? Are you just completely buying in and hopefully they do something? Where are you at?
Good question. I have no idea. It's all about expectations, as Jake would say. I think it depends on the fans' expectations before the season happened, and then the style of play, the pitching, the injured list. There's a lot of factors so if you're Reds fans, let us know. How you feeling?
I'd like to think if you're a Reds fan and you were told, hey, in July, you guys are going to be second in the Central, then Winker and Castellanos are nasty. I think Reds fans before the season would have signed up for that. Interested to find out.
Yeah. All right, we have to play. We have to do the stimulation simulator. You ready?
What?
It's time to stimulate the simulations with Big Baby David. If the playoffs happened right now, the AL wildcard has the A's flying to Tampa to play the Rays. BBD, who wins that game?
Rays.
Wow, he's back on. Okay, the divisional series would be the White Sox at Red Sox. Red Sox have home field advantage.
White Sox.
Ooh, the Rays at who's number 1?
Houston.
The Astros? Yes, the Astros. Because the Astros and the Red Sox have the same exact record, but the Astros have the head-to-head. So it'd be the Rays at Houston.
Houston. Good team.
White Sox versus Houston.
Houston.
Wow. We got Astros in the World Series. In the National League, the Padres and the Dodgers have locked up the wild card again. Padres going to L.A.
LA.
Okay. And then you have the Mets going to Milwaukee. We just had that series, and the Mets took 2 out of 3.
Brewers.
How about L.A. flying up to San Francisco for that battle in the DS?
LA.
Okay. And then Brewers versus L.A. Brewers would have home field advantage.
Brewers.
Wow, the World Series is the Brewers versus the Astros, with the Astros having home field advantage. And who wins the World Series?
Houston.
Damn, they won last week as well. Back-to-back wins for Houston in the stimulation simulator. Congrats to them. Well, next Friday we won't be doing this, but we'll bring it back.
It'd be part of the Friday app.
Nothing changed in the series there. So,
Who do
same
you-
winner.
Same standings as last week.
There weren't a lot of people who had the Astros in the World Series preseason. So I'm going to pat myself on the back.
Didn't we all say that?
No.
Maybe not the World Series. I think we said the.
We said they'd be good.
I think we said the AL goes through Houston still.
We'd said people were too down on them from sort of having a bad 60-game season because they were technically below 500, and people took too much stock in that. And there's like, guys, they're still good.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, let's move on to the second half of the show where we talk about some individual players and awards and slump watch. We've got standout performances.
I'm up.
You're up
I'm
first,
batting
Trev.
leadoff on standout performances.
It's me.
And I'm giving it. Thank you, BBD. I'm giving it to Jared Walsh, first baseman for the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim in Orange County. 2 for 4, 2 homers and 3 RBIs. And we don't necessarily talk enough about this guy and what he's doing. He's got a 911 OPS on the year, guys. A lot of people were clamoring for him to start the year, with Pujols there. Pujols finally gets moved. Those are big shoes to fill, and he's just kind of like risen to the occasion. And you got Ohtani there, like doing his thing, so you don't really hear enough about Jared. But when you watch the guy hit, he looks like I get the same feeling when I look at Yordan Alvarez. Like these guys can just rake. Like they don't miss pitches when they're in the zone. Like I like the balance that he has, and those homers he hit, they were crispy, baby. So I saw his name on the sheet, wanted to pick him. Was a pitcher at I think University of Georgia, kind of a two-way guy. So his numbers in college not that great, but since he's been in pro ball, look out, man. Guy can rake. He's a Wisconsin guy, Jake, so I know you love him.
I like reading Trevor Blue stuff. He's got a lot of good takes.
Go Jared Walsh. I'm a big fan.
All-star Jared Walsh. Good for him.
all-star.
Man. Huge year. Huge.
Like a huge year.
Jake?
I'd be surprised if he wasn't in like the top 95% for like exit velocity. I'm going to go look that up right now.
Okay. Tell us what you find. Jake, who is your standout performer?
DVD, did you get my text?
I got your text. I think Jimmy's going to have to play the audio.
Yeah, when you want it.
He's the one connected to the board.
Let it rip now.
Camarena to deep right field. Camarena plays it. Slam Diego. Are you kidding me? The Padres pitcher they just brought up from El Paso, the San Diego kid. It's a grand slam. That's unbelievable. Oh my God. Off Max Scherzer. So good.
Did you say anything else?
I think you're good there. He, Don Ursillo, who gets a lot of love on the internet and deservedly so. I think he was next to Ron Darling when he said, I love reading Trevor Plouffe's stuff, if I remember that correctly. Guys, a wordsmith I am not. Pretty simple, little chunky guy. The Daniel Camarena stuff is so cool. And I think the other part that comes with it, I mean, Ursillo gets so much of it in the broadcast. He just gets called up. 2 games, 10 years in the minors, hits a grand slam off Scherzer on a 1-2 pitch out of the strike zone. He goes down and gets it. The reaction from his brother is world class. I mean, it's tears. They have one camera shot on the brother the whole time. If you watch that and you don't feel emotion, like, you're not welcome in my life. So yeah, I don't even have to wax poetic. I mean, I do think the other thing I liked, you can tell on the internet when when a guy is genuinely liked, and everyone who had come across Camarena's path wasn't just doing it to get their tweet off. They were like, this is a good dude. This is awesome. And man, how about Camarena? He keeps a straight face the whole time. So credit to him for that, but awesome. Took over baseball last night, deservedly so. That's what I got.
Good moment.
He wasn't even in his body at that point, dude. Although he did remember to spin the chain. I was impressed with that. They put the chain on, he spun it right away. Like that's like knowing your surroundings and like kind of like, figuring it out. But what an awesome moment.
Gotta spin the chain.
I told you guys.
Because you got to.
As good as Ursillo's call is, go watch the Nationals broadcast call of it because I think it's even better.
Yeah,
and
a lot of people in the chat are saying
play
that, but we played one.
I'll just tell you what they said. Basically, they were calling for Max Scherzer to blow it by him 1-2 count, and he just drops it all over Scherzer. What's going on? What's going through Max's mind right there? Like what? Like
no one told him he could hit. He's mad at the scouting. Someone's got to tell, hey, this guy can actually swing it a little bit. You throw that.
Camarena said he blacked out around the bases.
You throw that pitch to a relief pitcher who's hitting. I mean, 99 out of 100 times, that's just like a ball or a swinging strike.
Yes.
That was the 1 out of 100. It's the Little Giant speech there. Just one time.
It was awesome, dude. And then for them to come back and win the game.
Yeah. That's what I asked you guys. Like, it was meaningful, right? Because I fell asleep at 8 o'clock last night. 9 o'clock.
Yeah, man.
Our guy Trent Grisham, baby.
Probably last year the DH. So if you're an NL diehard, put that last feather in your cap. God. Like, cool. But like if you're the NL person today on the internet being like, oh, so you like pitchers hitting? No, I fucking hate it. It's terrible. Nice moment.
Yeah,
I would like pitchers hitting if they took it seriously.
Yeah, I hate when they use that as the reason why I should stay around. Same with intentional walks when they're like, well, we'll just get rid of throwing the ball 4 times. Like, well, what about when they miss and it's a wild pitch? Or what about when they get, like a very cool moment. Not going to lie, but it happens twice a year. Good standout performer. I am going with the rookie, Logan Gilbert, Seattle Mariner pitcher, called up this year, made his debut on May 13th against the Indians, and is slowly really finding himself. He's had a lot of good outings already as a starter for the Mariners. The Yankees in Game 1 of this series beat up on Justice Sheffield, who didn't really have much. It wasn't like, the bats won. It was more like, yeah, that was bad pitching. Game 2, they beat up on Yusei Kikuchi, my dude, who has having a really good season. So the Yankees bats were going. I mean, they had like 13 hits and then 10 hits. Those are fake numbers, but they had a lot of hits in both games. Then they go to the rookie, Logan Gilbert, who's a 2-pitch pitcher, Trev. I mean, he threw a changeup, 4 times, and he threw a changeup 2 times, a knuckle curve 4 times. Everything else was just his fastball and his slider. So rookie, seeing a team for the first time, 2-pitch pitcher, and he just absolutely dominated the Yankees, who the bats had just gotten going. He gives up 1 hit. He had 32% swing and miss rate in the game, which is really impressive. He had him off balance. He was changing it up well. He strikes out 8 guys. Also 1 hit by pitch, no walks. So he was just attacking them, keeping them off balance. A lot of bad swings. And a young kid that is highly touted, highly thought of, but just put it all together against the Yankees and just dominated. I mean, he went 5 innings, 2 hits against the Angels earlier in the year. And he's had some good starts. It's not like this is his only good start, but, I mean, 7 innings pitched, 1 hit, 8 Ks, no walks. Hell of a start.
It looked like when I watched the highlights of it, he was kind of out of the middle of the zone a lot, and people were just not comfortable in the box against him. There are times when you're in the box and a guy's throwing the ball, and it looked like a couple of his fastballs, he was losing arm side, but they were still like hitting the top part of the zone, or some of them he was pulling a little bit, but those ones were hitting like the down and away to a righty spot in the zone, and then he was throwing that slider off it. Just a ton of swings that looked like guys were having trouble picking the ball up early. And when that happens, it's going to be a long freaking day. So he looked good, man. Like was pretty impressed with him. He's a first round pick for them, like a guy I think who they're counting on to be a guy. And flashes like that. Like, he's had a good year, but like you said, Jim, last night was pretty special.
Yeah, I have it up because I was interested in when he used his knuckle curve, because it seems like it probably very strategic. He only threw the knuckle curve. He threw the knuckle curve, 4 times. 2 times it was the first pitch of the at-bat, and then 2 times it was when he was 0-1, so I got ahead early. And I'm going to guess, if I go look at it, that those all came like second time through the lineup or third, just to show him, like, oh, by the way, I do have this as like a get-me-over, which is cool pitching. I appreciate it.
He's got a nice little stretch going. I think his last 7 starts are really good. And, I to recent fans, I was getting kind of Baby Glass now vibes. He's got the hair, he had the high socks going, and he was just dominating. Buster Olney, friend of the pod, who you might respect his opinion a little more than mine, he texted the Yanks broadcast booth during the game, and he's like, I'm getting Weaver brother vibes, Jeff and Jared Weaver. So kind of, a little bit of length to it, but some nasty stuff.
Yeah, he's 6'6". That makes it tough. When you're going up a guy that's tall like that and getting some extension, I think that's probably why another reason we saw some of those swings that were just not very competitive from the Yankees.
In the
first, that's tough, man.
In the first inning, he threw only fastballs. And his slowest fastball was 95.8 or 95 miles per hour. 3 batters, only fastballs. And then with Stanton, he showed the knuckle curve after being 0-1. Probably a really smart guy to do that with. And then he saved the knuckle curve and the change for later on. Oh, and there was Stanton again who got it. So it was a Stanton plan. Nice. Good job, Logan Gilbert.
I like it.
All right, Trev. It's that time.
See you guys in a little bit.
It's that time of the show. We had 5 guys we put on Slump Watch, hoping that they all bust off of it. And Jake, we may have done it. May be good. On our end, you got to put the backwards hat the other way. Twist it the other angle. Yeah, that's lined up. Yeah. All right, BBD, who are the 5 potential additions?
We got some potential ads this week. Carlos Correa goes 0 for 11, 4 Ks right before his series against the Yankees. Gary Sanchez goes 0 for 11, 3 walks, 5 Ks right before his series with the Astros. JP Crawford goes 0 for 11 with a walk and 2 Ks against the Yankees. Mike Zunino has an 0 for 6 with a walk. I'm guessing that's only 2 games played. And Starling Marte, 1 for 14. Walk, 2 hit by pitches is tough. 5 strikeouts.
Damn, man. All right. Well, some good addition candidates there. Jake, do you want to run through how many people got off?
Jim, I can try, and you're right. I mean, I might be the lazy man, and I know sometimes remote shows take longer, so maybe it's the easy move. We could have a sweep here. Mitch Haniger, 3 for 11, home run, hit by pitch. Whoops. Matt Olson, date my daughter, 3 for 10, homer, double, 4 ribeye steaks. Key Brian Hayes, dude, this is the one that's badass. 6 for 13. The rookie, he's been so good hitting, but that wasn't even supposed to be his thing. He goes in a little slump, and just like that, he rakes his way out of it. Love that. The GOAT, Randy Arozarena, the best ever. 2 for 7, okay, double. 2 walks, 444 on base. Take that to the bank. And then Laser Show Laureano, 5 for 13 himself. Jim, you're a naturally lazy guy. Natural born fat ass used to be a nickname for me, but could we clear the shelf here?
Yeah. It might be the first time in Talking Baseball history. You know, Randy might be the only guy that's not getting claps. Everyone else I'm kind of clapping for, too.
Like, if there was a for sure someone who stayed on Slump Watch, like an 0 for 11, I think we would say Randy's off. Like, 2 for 7, couple walks. He had a nice series. He got on base 4 times.
Like Randy, I think in a normal week, we say maybe we'd like to keep an eye on it, but the 2 hits, at least 1 was extra bases, so
we're good. We're set. The 5 that BBD said are going to Slump Watch. Correa, Sanchez, Crawford, Zunino, Marte.
Correa and Sanchez facing off this weekend. JP Crawford, we mention him every episode. Big Z, the all-star catcher and all Jomboy media catcher. And then Starling Marte watch, which is becoming a regular thing almost.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. All right. Trev, you can come back.
Trevor.
On Fuego. That means I'm on fire, baby. Like Waco.
All right. Trevor. Trevor Plouffe, are you here?
Miss you.
Okay, Trev's gone. We've moved on. What do you fall into Brian Hayes or something?
What?
whoa.
We missed you.
Oh, I missed you guys.
Missed you.
You would have loved Slump Watch. All 5 guys that we put on got off,
Hell yeah.
but 5
Look,
new
Gary
guys
Sanchez
went on.
is on it. That's my guy.
Ooh.
Yeah, he's on it, and we're watching him, but like his at bats weren't terrible, and he got some walks. So
Competing.
yeah. All right, in Fuego, Trev, you want to run down this list?
Not really.
All right, I'll do it. David Fletcher, 8 for 13 with 2 home runs. How about that? Joey Gallo doing the home run derby, hits 3 home runs the week before. How about that? 5 RBIs, 3 walks. Cabrian Hayes, not Cabrian Hayes, which is Trevor's new plant. How's the plant doing?
It's thriving right now.
All right, same. So is Hayes.
Yep.
6 for 13 with a homer and 3 doubles. Trey Turner is so good. He hits 3 homers, goes 7 for 19 this week. Oh, here's a name I don't know. John Nagowski. Who's that?
He got traded over from the Pirates to who?
From
the Reds to the
Cardinals to the Pirates.
From the
I think Cards.
I know nothing.
Yes. Well, great job by him. I know nothing. John Snogowski. Wow. How about that? 7 for 12. Garrett Cooper. Koopaloop, 6 for 13 with 2 homers. Hell yeah. Franmil Reyes, 4 for 8. That's 500. 2 homers and 2 doubles. Wow. Walk off. Luis Urias, 5 for 11. The height that I will eventually grow to with 2 homers. Juan Soto doing the derby. So he hits 2 home runs in preparation for it. Will Myers, he goes 6 for 14 with a homer and 3 doubles. And Nolan Arenado, 6 for 13, a homer and a double. That's your Fuego list. A lot of guys swinging the bat well.
Fletcher, 21-game hit streak. Is that alive, right? That's what Nate was just saying.
Yeah.
Gallo
That's so
even.
Kinda
impressive,
saving-
dude.
Gallo's 10
saving
homers in
his
his last
season.
10 games too. So more than
Jeez.
this series.
That's
Wow.
wild.
All right, let's move it on to awards. And Trevor, you get to give out the first award.
My award is called the Fill the Tank Award. Now, in baseball, it's kind of a double-edged sword, if you will. You play every single day, so if you are in a rut, it keeps on coming. It's like the ocean, baby. The tide's coming whether you want it or not. Sometimes that's a good thing. That means you can put yesterday behind you and focus on today. Sometimes it's a bad thing because it will snowball. When you're a role player and you're on the bench on an NL team, when you're going through bad stretches, you don't have the opportunity to get yourself out of the stretches that much. So you're alone with your thoughts a lot, thinking about, how do I fill my tank up? How do I get off this empty feeling and get back to being someone who produces for my team? You talk to anybody that's on the bench, and they'll tell you, any guy that started, then it's on the bench or anything, they'll always tell you it's probably the hardest thing to do in baseball is be a guy that pinch hits late in games. Well, our guy, Brad Miller, was in the dark, baby. Started out hot, his April and his May, pretty good. But then he went into the abyss in June. He had 2 hits and 34 at-bats for an .059 batting average during June. I talked to him a little bit during it. He's a pretty positive guy, but like I said, when you're a pinch hitter, you're in that zone a lot. So he was in the abyss. His tank was empty. Goes off last night. Gets the start because there were some crazy platoon splits and hits absolute tanks. Hits 3 freaking homers to fill up the tank. And what's great with that is, as a hitter, you have a game like that. Now your tank's full. You can have a few games where maybe you don't square up a ball, but you still have that confidence left over from that 3-homer game because it wasn't just some rinky-dink homers. Brad went oppo. Then he pulled 2 homers. He had no batting gloves on. He's the only guy in the big leagues that goes no BGs that has, like, swag still. Yes, James, you're pointing.
Tim LoCastro. Speed
Does he
swag
have-
for days.
Does he have swag, though?
Speed swag.
Speed.
Speed swag.
Different swags.
Brad's uniform, not a good look, but sometimes it just works for him. He has got the tight pants on. He had the tight Under Armour on underneath last night. No BGs. I don't know how he pulls it all together, but he does.
I think it's fair to say that Tilo and Brad Miller are the same swag.
I haven't watched any Tim LoCastro, so fine, you can make that assumption.
And both go no batting gloves, which I kind of was shocked
I don't,
by.
but this is a Brad Miller award, so we'll just stop talking about the Yankees for 1 second on this show. We can do that. That'd be nice.
I still think of him as a D-back, so you're good.
Okay, well,
He's a
he's not.
snake.
He's on your team. Anyways, Brad Miller
neat.
fills the tank up. He's affectionately known as Backyard Brad, obviously, because that legendary day with Cole Tuck, Archer, Flaherty, Brad, and Vanessa Hudgens in my backyard. So Backyard Brad does it. Fills the tank up. Congratulations, man. I talked to him last night about it. He was pretty excited. So good for him.
Great award. Fill the tank up. Jake, do you have an award?
Trev, I love that. I got a little foresight I just saw is that every team's free agency plan, when you see teams tweeting about their plan in free agency next year, is going to have Brad Miller in it. The past 3 years, 3 different teams, he's got a 844 OPS.
You can play everywhere.
196 games. Like, he's been doing it for a little while now. So he's going to be a part of every team's free agency. Trev, my award, I'm going with the firm handshake and eye contact. You guys know that's not what I have. I have these dainty handshakes with these tiny hands, and I don't look anyone in the eye. Comically small hands. Little Coach Ballgame shout out there. He teaches that to the kids, the youth across America. But it's not about that. We've talked a little bit we're starting to get into trade season. The draft is happening over the All-Star break. They tied it in with the All-Star break. We've heard some GMs say, once the players from last year's draft eligible, blah, 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 all of that. Teams, Cubs are saying they're out of it. There is going to be a pitching coach, Trev, that's going to have to approach the GM, kind of get out of their safe place a little bit. I know. And they're going to have a firm handshake and some good eye contact and say, I listen to Talkin' Baseball. Trevor Plouffe has a guy that he loves. He calls him a 1. Jose Berrios. Trev, he had a huge start. 7 innings pitched, 10 Ks. He could have been up, for a standout performance. He was on the sheet. And, man, this guy, I don't think he's missed a start in the last 4 years. 3.75 ERA, or 5 years? 5 years, excuse me. And Trev, he's 27 years old. Like, we've gotten very familiar with him because he's been doing it kind of at an all-star level the past 5 years. He just turned 27. I think he's got 2 more years on the contract, free agent 2023. If I'm a pitching coach, I'm telling the manager, I'm going all the way up to the GM's office, giving him a firm handshake, and I'm telling him, I might be able to even get a little more out of this guy. Because if you do, he kind of is a 1 or close to it. If you can get a little more. He's 27. He drops it. He's gross the way you speak about him, Trev. So I'm giving it to Jose Berrios.
I love that. This is the thing about Berrios is he works so hard. Like you feel good about having him in your rotation. Even if he has a poor start, you're like, dude, I know he's going to just like study and work. And it's not something that's going to affect him. Like he's so mentally strong as well. I love him. You guys know I always talk about him very highly. So I like the idea of him going somewhere and getting unlocked because we see that happens. Maybe they change his pitch mix a little bit. Say you got to do this. Like, the Twins haven't been very good at developing pitchers. We all know that. So what's to say they haven't been holding Jose back a little bit? No offense to the coaching staff there now, but like sometimes you go and someone says one word to you and it makes everything click. And that's just baseball. It happens on the pitching or the hitting side as well. Someone can say basically the same thing to you, but they use a different keyword and you're like, oh shit, that makes sense. Berrios could 100% be a guy that goes to a different organization. They say, you know what? We want you to throw this pitch more here. We want you to do this way. And then boom, we're looking at a guy that's sitting in the 2s for the foreseeable future. Because let me tell you this, like you said, he doesn't miss starts. That's because he works his ass off. Like he's healthy because he works his ass off. Go look at his Instagram and it's just all these awesome beach workouts with Javi Baez, like during the off season. It's so fun, man.
The most impressive thing about this outing by Berrios is that he faced the White Sox back-to-back starts. I always find that interesting. In the first start against them, he gave up 10 hits and he struck out 0 batters. And then 5 days later, he's pitching against the White Sox again. He allows 1 hit and he strikes out 10 batters. And the lineups weren't that different. So he made the adjustments that he needed to make, seeing the same exact guys again. He saw Moncada again. He saw Goodwin again. He saw Garcia, Vaughn. Zach Collins is the one that got him. So, saw Eaton. They just DFA Eaton, right?
They did?
Yeah, the White Sox DFA'd Eaton, yeah. Which is hilarious because they, went out and got him.
Yeah.
And then, good for them for being in a championship window and parting ways with something that they don't think is working out. And I think La Russa said there's just no opportunities for him to play. But they got a lot of injuries, and he still couldn't really find time. He wasn't doing it.
Good award, Jake.
Yeah, good award. I am giving out the Jim Craig Award.
Obviously.
Yep. I'm talking Yanks. Last night I gave out a 1980 U.S. Hockey Team award, so it's just fitting that I do another one today on Talking Baseball. Jim Craig, the goalie for the U.S. Olympic team, standing on his head in that third period against the Soviets. Went on to have a nice NHL career. And Jim Craig was a weirdo, obviously, because he was a goalie. And what he did, how he approached every game, there's a book about that team that I read, and how Jim Craig approached every game was each period was its own game. So he would get dressed, do his full routine in the locker room, put his pads on, go out and play game number 1. Then they'd come back to the locker room, and the Zamboni would clean the ice, and then he'd take off all of his pads, and he'd lay them all out in front of him, and he'd sit there, and then he'd say that was a great first game or that was a shitty first game, and then mentally he'd put all of his pads back on, re-tape them, re-strap them, re-everything, re-put the jersey on, and go out for game number 2. That's how he approached periods in hockey, and that's what Sonny Gray did. Sonny Gray told the reporters after a rough inning, he literally went to the clubhouse, took off all of his clothes, and was just in his cleats. And he said he was naked. He said he was an angry little elf, and he got re-dressed up. And it was a new game when he went out there, and he finished strong. So Sonny Gray gets the Jim Craig Award. That's probably something a lot of athletes tinker with, because it's just like, man, let's forget about that. Completely change up, and it helps change the mindset. So good story by Sonny Gray. He's got such a thick accent.
He's funny, man.
Yeah.
You guys would love him. And C. Rose pointed out he looked like he was 12 years old in that interview.
He always does. Yeah.
Like a baby-faced assassin, man. The story doesn't surprise me about him going and doing that. And then people have to realize, I think it was in Kansas City, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's a long run back to the clubhouse in Kansas City. Like the dugout's pretty far from the clubhouse. Like you got to go down the stairs, and then there's like a batting cage, weight room area. You got to go up these other stairs and down a long hallway back up into the clubhouse. So you have to do it pretty quick. Change your uniform. If you're talking about everything except your cleats, that's a good like 5 to 10 minute ordeal, man. Because getting wet stuff off you, as everyone knows that's ever worked out, very tough. Wet socks, maybe my worst thing. Like my least favorite thing to do is to take my wet socks off.
Better than keeping them on, though.
Yeah, they're great when they're off finally, but getting them off your feet is impossible.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
Fayao in the chat says that Miggy Rojas says that happens more than you think on the Chris Rose rotation. You probably said that. Also, chat corrected me. Fletcher didn't have 2 home runs. He had 2 doubles. Our sheet was wrong. My bad. Just Ron Burgundy reading the sheet.
Yes, we are. You know, he's right. Miggy is right about that. Maybe not the whole uniform, but like changing stuff up. And pitchers change their undershirts a lot. Like I know a lot of guys, they would have 6, 7 undershirts ready to go, and in between innings go change them. Pitchers are weird, man. Pitchers are weird. You don't see position players doing that shit.
I wore the same pajama pants underneath my hockey equipment from age 8 till... I mean, if I played men's league, if I started playing men's league again right now, I'd wear them. I still have them. From age 8, last time I played hockey was in 2018 in the men's league. So people whenever I go to a locker room and get dressed for hockey, people always are like, what the fuck are those? I'm like, this is what I play.
What is it?
They're like tight pajama pants because I like taping my knee pads straight up. I don't like the straps. So you can't tape the back because then they'll tape your leg, which is discomfortable.
So you've been wearing the same pants since you were 8 years old until now?
Yeah, maybe 10 years old when I moved to Illinois. Yeah, when I play hockey. The crotch is completely ripped to the knees, so there's like ultimate flexibility. There's really tight. So I don't like loose stuff because then I can feel it. But yeah, I can show you them. They're disgusting. I wash them in between every time I use them. So, but yeah, they're.
I'm just really confused how you fit in them.
Well, they were really baggy when I was like 10. They were like baggy. Now they're tight.
You had the foresight. You're like, hey, I'm going to get these pants a little bit baggy now because when I'm 30 years old, I'm still going to be wearing
I hate new things. So like my parents would try to buy me new equipment and I'd be like, ugh, I got to break it in. So my gloves, when I was playing hockey at age 28, my gloves were the same from age 15. My skates are the same from junior year of high school. I hate a lot of people like new things. I don't.
Okay.
It's too much.
He likes what he likes.
Yeah.
Is that what you hated me when I first came on the show?
No, not people, but like equipment. I never liked new equipment ever.
Stuff.
Yeah.
Stuff. I get that.
Well, like
I wasn't like a new shoe guy.
Oh, that's what I was going to say. If I got a pair of new shoes, first thing I did was run through wet grass. I didn't want anyone thinking I was trying to be stylish at school and being like, oh, check out the fresh kicks on Jimmy. Like, no, dude, I have no style. My mom bought me new shoes because she said my other ones don't think I'm trying to be stylish here. So I just run through grass and scuff them up immediately. Also, I hate walking around being nervous. Oh, my fresh shoes got stepped on by my buddy's brother. First time I met him at a bar. Like, I had friends that cared about that. I'm like, dude, I can't care about my sneakers getting scuffed up. So I'd scuff them up immediately.
Couple things. Are you referencing when Lucas stepped on my shoe right away? The freaking power move that you did?
Yes, I did. I am. Yeah.
Unbelievable. And then secondly, Jim, I don't even know what I was going to say. Oh, yeah. Kids are brutal, man. Like, you get a haircut and then you go to school. Everyone's like, oh, you got a haircut? It's like, obviously, I got a fucking haircut, dude.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to ask me if I got a haircut? Look at my hair.
It happens.
I don't like that.
Who is our best friend of the week, BBD?
It's a guy. Ooh.
Oh.
Sorry, I didn't switch the headphones, so I hear myself twice, and I hate that. It's a guy very close to my heart. Reese Hoskins, 5 for 14, 2 homers, 2 doubles, 7 RBIs. The 4th best friend award he's gotten this season, ties Austin Meadows for the lead. And also a little shout out to Cole Tucker, single on the first pitch he saw, getting called back up. So,
hell yeah.
Hey, Shelton, play Cole Tucker.
Yeah.
Put him in the lineup.
Why not? Why not? Did you see the jersey that BBD got, Trev, that someone sent him?
Is that the Phillies, the infield?
Yeah.
Like that.
it'll be a frequent flyer at Denver.
You need to put like in parentheses like this also includes the catcher position.
Well, that's why it's got the number 5 on the back, not 4.
Okay, 5 people.
Yep. All right, let's say that we're in an elevator and in comes someone. What kind of person is it, Jake?
So who we're in the elevator with?
Yeah, what kind of person?
I'd say you're in the elevator. Maybe you're in a friendly hotel in Buffalo, New York, and you see a guy, maybe khakis, polo shirt, untucked,
Wow.
Business conference.
and a little bit of a beer belly.
Business conference.
Okay. And that person that Jake just described happens to be wearing a Detroit Tigers hat.
You can talk about our guy, Zach Short, newest shortstop of the Detroit Tigers. Made some really good defensive plays.
Yeah, he also took a ball for ball 4 that kind of nicked the strike zone, which ended up getting pitching coach Giolito's and Freed's and Flaherty's high school pitching coach ejected for the first time. Katz got ejected. All he said was, that ball's up. It's a breakdown I want to make because he didn't say a swear word. He's like a real soft-spoken. He didn't say a swear word, didn't say anything. But we're going to blame Zach Short for that one, for taking that pitch. An honest guy probably, tells the ump, I think that's a strike too, and stays put. So you can talk about that.
Playing well lately, right? They've been doing all right. The pitching has turned it on. Badu is still freaking doing it. 820 OPS, 129 OPS plus. That's a nice find. Who else is doing it?
You guys know
Scope.
Who's leading the Tigers in WAR?
I do.
I do not.
Casey Mize, War Eagle, huge pitching prospect, and it's coming together. Same with Scooble, man. Scooble was on Pitch Ninja the other day. Pretty stuff, looking at the fastball and how the slider works off of it. These young dudes are figuring it out, and man, that could really expedite the timeline. And yeah, they've been a 500 or better baseball team for like 2 months now.
Yeah,
Go
8 games
Tigers,
under
go.
500. Jimmy, second in WAR. Your favorite guy, Matthew Boyd.
Good for
Gotta
him,
be loving
man.
that. Gotta be loving that.
Willie Peralta has been pitching, got called up in June, and he's pitching really well. So you can talk about that too.
Miguel Cabrera used to be really good.
Jake sucks.
You guys want to see my kingdom?
Beautiful. Fourth floor
Beautiful downtown Buffalo.
view. Jump.
Let's get some clicks.
Oh,